Last week, I walked kind of through a lacrosse practice to get to the soccer field where I was refereeing. And as I was walking up and past the lacrosse practice, the coach blew his whistle. All right, everybody, you have 30 seconds to get a drink, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, parents stood up, grabbed water bottles, ran to the edge of the field, and handed the water bottle to their son. And there were probably 15 or 20 parents there, all of them getting up out of their chairs or walking away from where they're standing and talking to another parent, water bottle in hand, handing it to their son, giving their son a quick pep talk or more instruction or whatever, while the coach then yelled at them to get back on the field, for the next drill. And it astonished me because when I was young, parents didn't come to practice first. We had parent coaches, so we generally had 2 or 3 parents at practice because they were our coaches, but nobody else stayed around. And if a parent did have to drive a decent distance to drop off and then drive home a child, they would sit in the car and read. This was before cell phones and videos and YouTubes and Wi-Fi and all that stuff, Starbucks. So parents would sit in their car and read a magazine or read a book, but they never got out and watched practice. They never brought water down. If you wanted water, you brought your own water bottle. If you forgot your own water bottle, you borrowed a friend's or you used a drinking fountain. That's just the way it was. And so as I watched that, and then I went to a college basketball practice this week, and the college basketball team has managers, and so the college players don't do anything for themselves. They don't rebound for themselves. They don't pass. If they're doing a shooting drill, they have a manager that rebounds. They have a manager that passes. All they do is shoot. If they need water, a manager runs over with a water bottle. If there's sweat on the floor, they were running sprints, and one player's like, "Oh, I slipped on the other end." So a manager sprints the length of the court with a towel, wipes down a little spot so that the player can change directions a little bit quicker. And so we've gotten to the point where we've tried to make sports easy for players, that players literally can't do anything or aren't allowed to do anything for themselves. And I just see it's laziness, and it filters into practice habits, playing habits, etc. When you expect somebody else to do something for you, you can't tie your own shoe anymore. You can't get your own water bottle. Your parents are running over with your water bottle. These were teenagers. It's not like this was under 4 soccer or something. These were probably 13, 14, 15-year-old boys. Club competitive lacrosse. They can't get their own water bottles. I just think that in this environment where we're trying so hard to make sports easy, and give children every possibility and build them up and keep everything positive and provide everything to them and get managers to rebound and shooting coaches for them and so on and so forth. Players don't have to do anything on their own. They're not invested in their own development because everything is done for them. Their parent drives them to the field. Their parent is there to give them water. They only go when a coach is there. They don't practice on their own. If they want to practice beyond their team practice, well, then they have a goalie coach, or they have a dribbling coach, or they have, in basketball, they have their shooting coach, or they have their workout guy, or they have their agility guy. And so they're always going to a coach and having a coach tell them what to do, and assigning them, and they have a certain time every week where they go. It's scheduled out, and there's not that individual motivation to say, okay, well, I'm going to go to the park today and get my shots up, or I'm going to stay after practice on my own. Even if you do now, there's the rebounding machines that'll rebound for you and pass the ball to you. And while all of these things are nice, and it's nice to have a parent there to give you water, and it's nice to have a manager to be able to rebound and pass to you, and it's nice to have a shoot away or whatever they're called to pass the ball to you. I think in this effort to make everything easy, we've eliminated so many of the challenges and the small challenges of playing sports that we're ignoring a lot of the developmental lessons and eliminating a lot of the hardships, the small hardships that help children to learn resiliency. So if you forget your water bottle and you're at practice, and you still have to practice, and you have to make it through that practice, and it's not a big deal, but it's overcoming a small bit of challenge or difficulty. And at a young age, you do that, and then now you have confidence that you can overcome something. Or you have to walk to the gym. It's a challenge as compared to getting a ride or just sitting at home doing nothing. So you've overcome this small bit of difficulty or small challenge. And when you have these small building blocks, now you can start to develop a little bit of resiliency, develop a little bit of ownership of your own skill, of your own development. Whereas when somebody's always doing it for you, you don't have those opportunities. So then when you get to a higher level and the consequences are greater and the challenges are greater and the difficulties are greater, it's harder. Because once you are faced that challenge, you don't have that built up momentum of overcoming small challenge, small challenge, small challenge. So now you've ignored all these small challenges, you've had somebody else help you through them or do them for you, and now you get to a big challenge and you don't know how to handle it. You don't have the resiliency if you fail, and the difficulty becomes insurmountable. And that's where I think a lot of children will tend to quit or give up or kind of regress into themselves, as opposed to really attacking that challenge, or showing some resiliency or showing some ability to find a solution. And it's not that getting one's own water bottle is hard, but I think it's the mentality that we've created, that people do things for young children that at no time in history has that ever happened before, and even in other cultures that wouldn't happen. And so I think we need to put more of the responsibility back on the players, even to young players. Let them get their own water. Let them walk to practice once in a while. Force them to force them to make a choice of, going. I mean, I remember, when I was young, not going on a family vacation because I didn't want to miss a practice with my baseball team, and stuff like that. So make that choice. Don't make the choices for, the players or the children or the athletes. Give them this responsibility at a young age so they can learn to make these choices, so that when they get to the big choices, when they're late in high school, late in adolescence, in college, and so forth, they can handle making these choices. They have resiliency if they make a poor choice or if they fail at something, and they can continue to embrace these challenges as opposed to shying away from them or kind of receding in themselves or giving up.